Quickly I rose in ranks, and I sensed there was jealousy, but their fear of my unknown power always kept them in their place. I was able to take a reputation and turn it into a persona which saved my life. I hadn't had a fight, nor did I have to, because Turmoil had a habit of confirming my war stories and spreading the word. My charges mixed with my street reputation kept the wolves at the gate and in line. A month after I arrived in Queen's house, a new young recruit was put in the cell next to me. He was strong of body, but with the mind of a child trapped in a young man's body, the perfect soldier. Term ordered to train him and put him under my wing as my student. I tried to elevate his combat tactic by building his mind, but it was useless. I found out he had some disease and needed medication to maintain daily activates. He quickly became my little brother, and I protected him mentally, and he tried to protect me physically, even though I didn't need it. My demon saw him as an asset. I was his Chaka Zulu, and he was my Bomani, the one who would side with me when I needed strength, with no resistance by my side. My new demon brother had the uncanny ability to get himself in trouble. The demon keepers allowed my brother to neglect his daily dosage, and his mind began to deteriorate, which made him unstable and more prone to trouble. He forgot the rules and regulations. He forgot the battle lines he shouldn't cross, and when he fell behind them, trouble began. One day, the light-skinned Chief Drag was in the day room watching Caliente, which is standard at that time on the weekends. Every house in this gladiator domain that is infested with light demons watches Caliente. It's an unwritten law. We had Soul Train and they had Caliente. Drag was well into the second half of his program when my little man came in and changed the channel without going through the proper channels. No soldier can violate a chief without a direct order from higher up, nor is he permitted to flip the channel while the captain is present. Quickly, Drag stepped to my little man, and just as he was about to bring the blaze, I intervened on his behalf, and battle terms were set. The next day after the War Council, a decision was made. We discussed the condition of battle and who would be involved. You see that? That's how fast shit jumps off in here. One day, you're breaking up a fight, and the next day, you're setting the terms for a battle. My position in the Dark Army always prevented Drag from making a move on me or the squad on our tier, and it kept the peace most of the time. But my little brother didn't have the protection I had, and he was an expendable commodity. Once the word got back to Term that his head solider was going to do battle, he quickly came to my aid. Once he found out the situation, he told me I should reconsider my position. To him, some people could be sacrificed in order to keep the peace between the armies, but his head soldier in command in trouble would surely call for him to put all his forces behind me, even if he didn't want to. He knew the army would back me, and he knew that not doing so may be the move that caused a Brutus Caesar escapade. If he left me to face them alone, the army would see that as an act of treachery against the darkness. The demon also realized, for some reason, Term wasn't ready to go to war as quickly as I was. He didn't have a thirst for battle like we did, and I believed he was afraid of war, and his way to avoid it was to talk me out of it. Because my little brother had nothing the Dark Army needed. He was expendable. I disagreed, and the demon and I wanted to save him for our own demonic reasons. As a Dark Solider, I had to accept the fact that everything was done to move into a position of power, and my little brother had to be sacrificed. As the moment grew near, the demon seed expended little energy to fight my light aside because it was so weak. The light wanted to save him because I knew he was just misunderstood, but Professor could not let his lighter half control his decisions. He could not allow his light to be revealed as it could cost him his life. I sat in my cell and fought myself as I heard my little brother cry out for my help as the light-skinned demons tore his innocent soul to shreds with the homemade tools of torture, tools that unleashed the liquid that was an offering to the gods of blood. I covered one ear to block his screams of my name, and I covered one eye as his blood flowed past my cell. Then, as they dragged his crimson-soaked body past my cell, one tear escaped from one side, for that was all the world would allow. By the third month, Professor was unable to escape the fact that Turmoil was a weak fool who didn't know how to command this army, and thoughts of loyalty twisted his mind as they intertwined themselves with a realization that he must overthrow his mentor. He also had a secret hate for him for allowing his little brother to be sacrificed to those light-skinned jackals. In some way, we knew that soon it would be our turn to be sacrificed, and my demon was disgusted at the fact that such a weak-minded, illiterate bastard could have so much power. Yeah, the demon knew it was coming, but we had to be patient and wait for our chance to take what was ours. At the end of the summer, the third floor of Queen's house was scheduled to go under construction, and all demons were to be moved to 6 Lower, building C-74 on Rikers Island, the oldest and worst building in the facility. 6 Lower was a V-shaped floor, north and south, and at the point of that was the correction officer's bubble. From there, they can see all 60 cells and the day rooms, but somehow it never stopped any blood from being shed, nor illegal activity from taking place. Strangely enough, all the chiefs and second-in-commands were put on the south side, with a few soldiers, and all the soldier heads, as well as the soldiers, were placed on the north. We didn't realize it at the time, but that was the chance we were waiting for. The first days, a majority of light and dark-skinned soldiers were left without direct supervision, which sounded like a chaotic situation at first, but it was the best thing a Brutus-type Soliter could ask for out of chaos, the few shall find power. On our side, the first 5 cells were for the civilians, the next 13 for the light-skinned, and the last 12 for the darks. Our first weeks in 6 Lower were spent fighting the COs for power. C-74 was known for controlling their demons, but we were not prepared to just give in to them, which meant we spent a lot of time battling the riot unit, also known as the Ninja Turtles. The battles with their riot unit were fierce and plenty. Complete lock-in was a norm on the north side, and phone and television privileges were non-existent. The shakedowns and beatdowns were at their peak when the demon pain came for double visits. This war was one the demon truly enjoyed because we gave much, and the payback was extreme and harsh. Every morning and night, our cries could be heard throughout the 4 building, like the blood-curdling wails of a banshee at midnight. The demon pain wrote chapter upon chapter in our flesh, never letting the wounds heal, bringing a new meaning to his namesake